Now the next step is these upper closeout panels. They're two pieces. They just snap straight down. You grab one corner, start releasing it. Move on to the next one. There you go. We'll set those off to the side. The radiator is held stationary by two mounts. They're both removable. This is one of them. I'll show you more about it once we get it off. There's one on the driver's side and there's one on the passenger side. This is the driver's side headlight, so you know where we are. We've also got a plastic closeout panel that goes on the side of the radiator. It kind of covers up and routes the air to go hit the radiator and not go around it. We'll have to work around that as well. And that has a plastic reusable fastener. We'll have to release that. All we're going to use is our metal trim stick that we always been using on a lot of different things. We got plastic, we got metal. I'm going to use the metal one on these. Just take care not to lose the plastic fastener. You're going to pull the head loose and pry it out. Once you do, you'll work on getting the base off together. So there you go. So our typical reusable, expandable plastic fastener. Now that closeout panel had the ability to move, so we can get a little more access to a few things we need to get to, which is mainly the bolts holding the condenser to the radiator. Like I said, we got one on the passenger side as well. We've done the driver's side. Also go ahead and do the passenger side. Get that loose, and then we got a little more movement on that one as well. And that's the same other upper radiator mount that I was telling you about. Now I'm just going to go ahead and work on these upper radiator supports. That way I get some movement out of it and I can work on getting the condenser bolts a little bit easier. I'm just using a regular 10mm ratchet wrench. You can use anything you can get your hands on. That's usually how things go for me. I grab whatever I've got handy. Just go ahead and back that all the way out. Years ago there was a recall on some of these mounts, but it's not this particular vehicle. But let's get that bolt all the way out. Sit to the side. Now what you'll see is I can actually move and pick up the mount. That is your upper radiator mount right there. There's one on the driver, one on the passenger. It basically just holds onto the top of the radiator to stop it from moving. That's your upper mount. We got to remove the passenger side as well. Now we got the driver's side off. Now remember those two closeout panels I told you, kind of rubbery type plastic on the sides of the radiator. Now we're going to need to get those out of the way so that we can get to the fasteners on the side for the condenser. Now we've already released the plastic push pins from up top on those. Now we need to get up underneath, because up underneath we can actually reach up in here in the front of the bumper cover, get to the bolts on the condenser, and we can get to those closeout panels. There's going to be two push pin fasteners on the bottom if we need to get to. Once we get those off, we'll have room to get to everything else. But the first thing we need to do is we've got to get this lower air dam off. Now there's two sections. There's one under the engine, we'll be leaving that, and we want the one right here that attaches to the front bumper cover that goes around. Now over time a lot of these vehicles have had front end damage, they've hit things. Some of these fasteners are no longer attached because they've been ripped loose and broke loose from the air dam. So what we'll do is we'll work on getting what fasteners are still attached off. We'll get this piece off, and I'll show you about how to get those closeout panels off on the side. So right here where the front bumper cover meets the lower air dam, right there along the leading edge, you got a total of 10 fasteners. They are 7mm bolts. You just go along the perimeter, find out which ones are still fastened. Like I said, if I'm going down the end here, you can see real world environment here. These are actually broke loose. They can't go back on because they ripped loose from the air dam. Take the rest of them off. Now what we got remaining is we got a total of two 10mm bolts that attach it right here to the cross member on the frame, as well as holds the front of the engine air dam as well. So we'll take those two 10s off. Now we got a total of 6 plastic push pin fasteners right inside the fender well liner that you'll have to remove. Like I said, over a period of time they start missing, coming up, or been replaced with something else. This particular vehicle only has 2 of them, but there should be a total of 6. 3 along the bottom edge of both fender well liners, and those are the smaller headed push pin style fasteners. Now I'll show you what those are. Here's that lower air dam, and there's the fender well liner. There's a push pin here. This one's missing here, and we got another one right here. So there's a total of 3 per side. There should be. So we'll release the 2 that we've got by pulling out on the centerpiece, and then we'll move over to the passenger side, and if there's any there, we'll take those off as well. But like I said, normally there'd be a total of 6, 3 on each side. Now the air dam's off. We've got a space between the condenser and front bumper cover. if I can get my arms all the way up in here, so I can get to those closeout panels and get to the fasteners for the condenser. But definitely this is the way we're going to be using this, because we cannot get it from the top the way the bumper cover fastens to the upper radiator support. There's no room. So I can actually get my hands up in here this way, and I can get to all the fasteners so we can get that radiator out of here. So here's that closeout panel on the driver's side. This is the bottom edge of it. Now you see 2 push pin fasteners there. Those we're going to leave in place. We'll work on getting this bottom one off. The bottom one goes on the lower radiator support. We'll take that out. Just pull the center piece out and then pull the bottom piece. Sometimes they come off together, sometimes they don't. Nonetheless, you can reinsert it. Now we don't need to take the closeout panel all the way off. We just need to reposition it so we can get to everything. The way it's designed, it's so tight getting out, but no need in fighting with something. All we need to do is reposition and lift it up out of the way to get through our fasteners. Passenger side is identical. Take the push pin out. Now, the bumper cover is off the vehicle. Now keep in mind, you do not have to remove the bumper cover. I did this so I can show you what's going on behind the bumper cover, because I can't get a camera up in there. It's real tight tolerances as far as space. So I went ahead and just a few more fasteners to get it off to show you basically what we're working with and what fasteners we need to get loose as far as the condenser from the radiator, so we can separate the radiator from the vehicle and get it out. So we're on the driver's side. We've already got the push pin fasteners taken loose from this closeout panel. Like I said, we would usually move it like this while it's inside the vehicle as far as the bumper cover being on. I can physically just take it off for the moment and show you where the fasteners are. Now we got a 10 millimeter right here, and directly below it right here we've got another 10. So these are the 2 10s right here that you're going to be taking off to get the condenser unbolted from the radiator. So like I said, closeout panel, if you can get it out and drop it out the bottom, great. If not, just move it to the side, because you'll be coming up in here with your hand and your ratchet to take that 10 loose and take that 10 loose. So that's the ones on the driver's side you need to worry about. Now that closeout panel on the passenger side, you'll be able to move out of the way. Now keep in mind it has a wiring harness on it, so this one will be a little harder to take out of the vehicle, but you should be able to at least turn it sideways to get some clearance. And once you get your clearance, you'll see that right here is a 10 millimeter. Right down here at the bottom is another 10. So you've got 2 10s here and here. Those are the 2 fasteners for the condenser radiator on the passenger side. And like I said, you would be coming up in here with your tool with the bumper cover installed. So I keep saying it. Bumper cover was removed to show you what the fasteners look like and where they are. So now you're going to work on getting those 4 10 millimeters off. Once you get those 4 10 millimeters off, then we're going to go ahead and get back to the inside of the engine compartment where we can work on getting that radiator out. Alright, so let's recap. We've got the hoses unhooked, upper and lower. We've got the 4 bolts, 2 on both sides for the condenser to the radiator. Fans out of the way. The upper radiator supports are taken off. We should be able to tilt the top portion of the radiator towards the engine. Once we do that, we should be able to start picking up. Got both sides. Be careful and take it up. There we go. We got our radiator out from inside the engine compartment. So there you have it. You've seen step by step what you need to do to get this radiator out. I went beyond the Call of Duty and even took the front bumper cover off so I could show you where those fasteners were, so you visually you know where they are when you're trying to reach up in there from underneath to get to them. Installation is just the opposite of removal. Follow the steps, you shouldn't have any problems. Otherwise, at this point, this is where I ask for any kind of thumbs up on YouTube. Don't forget to like me on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter and check me out on Instagram as well. If you got any kind of comments or suggestions about today's video or anything Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram related, please feel free to email me at david@motorcitymechanic.com, and I'll try to get back to you in a timely manner. Once again, thanks for watching these videos.